What if there's traps that you fell into in your e-commerce brands that are costing you millions of dollars and you don't even know it? That's exactly what we're going to go through today on the 12 profit traps that are costing you millions of dollars. The traps that I'm going to walk you through today, these are the same traps that I fell in, my clients have struggled with as well. And when I do consulting for 8 and 9 figure brands, these are the same things that I see over and over again. So I'm going to give you the distilled version of the traps that I see. When we've caught ourselves in these traps and really turned them around, we've taken a brand from $450K a month in revenue to over $450K a month in net profit at scale. The traps we're going to go through today are in 4 categories: founder traps, communication traps, data traps, and overall business-wide traps. Let's start with founder traps. I purposefully put this first because it all starts with you as the leader of the brand. How you look at the world, how you look at your business, how you look at your market, all of that starts with you, and how you approach your business starts with that lens. So the first trap, the most simplest one, the most embarrassing one, the most painful one, is not looking at your profit. There are a lot of founders who simply don't look at the profit in their business because they don't like what they see. They're not happy with the growth. They're not happy with the performance. They're not happy with their team. They're not happy with themselves. Whatever the thing is, they're just not happy with how things are going. And so they don't even want to look at how poorly they're doing. How do I know that? Because I've been one of those founders at different stages of my own company when things are going good versus when things are not doing great at all. When things are growing and doing great and everyone's happy, that number looks good, feels good. There's so much good vibes around it. But when things are bad, it is so easy to avoid it. Delay a meeting with your finance team, delay a meeting with all the different uncategorized expenses you have or any kind of check-ins you have on the finance side because you just don't want to look. One of my friends was spending $400 a day on ads and he wouldn't go into the ads manager because he didn't want to see how bad he was doing. This is very normal. So if you're unhappy with the level of profit you have, the shift here is to look at your numbers. This means is create the environment where getting the numbers is easy. Create the environment where you believe those numbers when you get the report. And then when you do get these reports, or if you're doing themselves, that it has the right numbers that you care about in your business. This sounds simple. If you don't have a problem around this trap, that's fine. But trust me, it is very, very common. Trap number 2, you don't have a profit goal. This is something really interesting, especially with online businesses where everyone talks about revenue and how many people you have and how many customers you get, but no one really talks about profit. No one's talking about how healthy is your business, how much money do you have in the bank in case stuff happens, how much access to capital do you have, what is the overall health of your business. Maybe it's because it's just not sexy. Everyone just wants to talk about top line metrics. This is even common with companies I've consulted that are doing millions of dollars a month, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million a month. They don't know what their profit is and they don't have a goal for their profit. And so then they don't tell their team about it. So all their team is optimizing for is let's get more revenue, let's have a CPA target, and that's about it. And so if you're watching this video, it's because you care about profit, right? So the shift here is deciding on how profitable do you want to be and then letting the team know that number. Trap number 3 is you're obsessed with growth instead of profitability. Entrepreneurs earlier on in their journey, all they want is a bigger number so they feel good enough that they belong. If you're always in this growth mode, you never take chips off the table. You don't know what your level of profitability is. You don't know how profitable you should be. You don't know what a healthy business looks like because all you care about is revenue, ad spend, new customers. Fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with that, but if there's no cash in the bank and there's no profit in the business, like you're not going to have a business. In most cases, this is just ego, and it's important to be aware of when it's ego versus when you just don't know better, and that's fine too. There's ways to turn this around. How do you set your benchmarks and goals around hitting both of those goals instead of just one? Top line growth is ego, profit is sanity. There's a lot more founder traps, but if you focus on these and turn them around, there are so many positive things that happen and a lot of problems that you avoid just by solving these traps. Now let's go into the communication traps. When your company is small, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, everyone knows everyone. It's very easy to communicate. There's no formal documents that need to be prepared or crazy reports. Everyone has a pulse on everything generally. What happens is as your company gets bigger, that same communication, especially if everyone's online or working remotely, doesn't really happen. Then one day you're surprised of why isn't everyone on the same page. This is usually when people start focusing on how to improve communication and alignment and use words like that to make sure everyone is on the same page. So trap number 4 is celebrating in-platform ROAS or CPA targets. This trap can be devastating because what this means is that media buyers or the marketing team overall is celebrating of how good Facebook or Google look, but no one is checking what is happening business-wide and if those numbers are real. An attribution platform doesn't fix this problem. What you want to make sure of is you're not BSing yourself with the wrong data. If Meta looks incredible and everything looks so good from a performance standpoint, but no one is checking, wait, how many new customers did we actually get yesterday? What is the CPA that we actually got? Or what is the ROAS that we got across the business? Or what is the overall profitability that we have on this new customer? What is the overall level of profitability on new customers yesterday? If no one's double checking that or reconciling that, that's where this trap is a huge deal. All ROAS is not good ROAS either. We've had clients where their break-even ROAS is 300%. We have other clients where their break-even ROAS in platform is 80%. It's not that one marketer is better than the other. It's more so the business dynamics and how much a product costs, what the average order value is, and what you can afford to acquire a customer. Just because the ROAS is higher doesn't mean that you're actually doing better. This is especially important when you have a lot of different products, a lot of different SKUs, and you're selling different products to the market overall, and you have to decide what is the right level of profitability per product. It becomes very, very complex. And so the shift here is optimizing for new customer profitability and setting benchmarks across the business, and then reconciling what's happening in your ad platform versus what's happening business-wide of cash collected, real money in the account, instead of what just an ad platform says. Trap number 5 is marketing and finance not talking to each other at all. Marketing teams, media buying teams think in days and weeks. Finance teams thinks in months and quarters. Also, the metrics that marketing and growth teams optimize for versus finance are very, very different. Their incentives are also very different. And the person between those two groups of people is usually the leadership team or the founder. When these two groups don't talk to each other, the delayed impact of what happens financially sometimes takes a month or 3 months of really bad performance before anyone really catches what's going on. And so instead, here's the shift to make. Create an environment where marketing and the finance team are talking to each other, or at least speaking to each other once a month on a call. Even if it's not on a call, at least they're talking about the same reporting, the same data, because there's always a different, even if it's not on a call, at least they're talking about the same reporting, the same data, because there's always a different of what the finance team is looking at, especially at the QuickBooks or financial statement level versus what the marketing team is looking at. We had this happen with a brand that I was consulting with over $10 million a month in revenue, and the finance team wasn't looking at sales tax, but the marketing team was. It's not a crazy high percentage, but that 5% at over $10 million a month adds up. So just speaking the same language does make a big difference of how everyone is making those decisions. As the founder, the shift starts with you. Do you trust both of those people to communicate? And if there's sensitive data, create limitations of the boundaries of what data or what line items that you're not allowed to ask about or that other teams aren't able to get access to, and that solves most of those problems. This is the 6th trap, inventory to media mismatch. There's multiple types of mismatches that happen here, but there's 2 big ones. One is that you're spending and scaling on your best performing product, but there's not enough inventory for that product and the lead times are 3 to 6 months. So now you're very profitable, but that product won't be available and your whole advertising campaign is going to change dramatically. The other common trap here is that performance on specific type of inventory is amazing, but it doesn't align to strategic objectives of what you want for the business, whether it's product lines that you're going after, product categories, or a level of profitability based off of the actual SKU or product mix that you have in your business. Just because it gets incredible ROAS or low CPAs, it doesn't actually help you accomplish your business-wide goals. And so there's a mismatch between the inventory you have versus the advertising that you're running. The shift here is connecting what you want strategically to the operational teams on the media buying side and the product side. This type of shift, when we've implemented randomly, we just start getting a lot more profitable and everything moves a lot simpler. Now you can see why with these communication gaps, when people are communicating better and the founder is also functioning at a higher level, a lot of these problems can get solved. And so now we're going to get into the juicier problems, which are the data traps. Data traps are very, very complicated because there are a combination of not having the right data, not having the right infrastructure, seeing mirages and illusions that you believe and are actually, once you wake up from them, you're scared and shocked of what did I do? There's so many interesting challenges with data. I want to talk you through the traps that happen at the data level that can have a massive impact on your business. Trap number 7 is you don't know what a new customer costs. Most businesses have a blended CAC. Here's the total amount we spent and here's the total number of customers or orders that we have in the business this month. We don't like doing that because it doesn't keep us honest. The returning side of the business is almost kind of its own business. What happens on refunds, churn, anything like that, chargebacks, we want to separate that on the returning customer side. If you work in growth and marketing, your responsibility is to acquire net new customers. What happens on subscription is your responsibility on the type of customers you're bringing in, but that is a delayed factor to the growth of the business. What matters for you primarily is what are the new customers that you're bringing in for the business right now. If you don't know what the lifetime value of a customer is, then you can't determine what your new customer cost should be. And then if you don't know what it actually is right now, it is a major problem. A lot of times this can be solved with a dashboard that you believe in, so you're getting a no BS number of how much it costs me to get a new customer this month. Our clients look at new customer acquisition in two ways. One is what is the new customer acquisition cost just based off of ad spend, nothing else. Then there's the all-in CAC number, which is the ad spend plus all the different agencies, vendors, creators, photo shoots, software, anything that is relevant from a marketing standpoint that you want to put in at the marketing level for the all-in cost. And so that would be your all-in cost divided by your new customers. The easiest place to start with this is your ad spend base CAC and your new customer CPA. And please separate this so that you can look at what is happening on new customer acquisition specifically. And if you want to look at blended CAC, you can do that too. Trap number 8 is you're not tracking profit per order. When it comes to new customer acquisition, what is your expectation on profit per order on a new customer? This is very important from a profit per order on a new customer because you can be very, very profitable on a new customer, but you're only getting 50 new customers a month. In the e-commerce space, that's just not a lot of customers. The shift here is how do you balance what your growth targets are for the business? How many new customers do you need this month? And then how profitable should those customers be? A different way to say it is you have to balance the volume of new customers with the profit per order of new customers. The mistake here is look at how profitable this new customer is or these new customers are, but I didn't really get that many customers. So if you're spending a bunch of money but not getting enough customers, then what's the point? That is the trap of how do you balance both volume with the profit per order. Once you figure this out, you can do the dance of how to acquire new customers in a profitable way and do it in a healthy way for your business. Trap number 9 is you don't have any financial models. Most e-commerce brands are built by brute force. You're just going to create awesome ads, awesome landing pages, run ads, and figure it out. And that's fine. Eventually, when you're unhappy with the state of your business, you're going to do something differently. That's where financial models come in. You're taking the brute force and kind of momentum into a formula. There are formulas for your growth. There's formulas for how profitable you want to be. There's formulas for your overall product mix, for how you acquire a customer, for how you do forecasting. There's formulas for everything you want in your business if you decide on how structured you'd like to be. So the shift here is starting with simple financial models of just doing a forecast of your revenue. If this seems complicated to you, ask people who do this for a living, and for them, it's very natural. They will ask for your data and then present it to you without you doing anything. But if you're stuck in your business and you're not happy with the profit in your business and you're not asking for help in this area, you're going to stay stuck. Ask for the help for financial models and you'll see that your level of confidence and control changes because now you have more visibility and you understand the levers in your business in a much higher level. You can see that these traps were around getting the right data and analyzing them correctly to make your decisions because it's so easy to just assume the data is correct. Now we're going to go into business-wide traps. These are traps with the growth lens in mind from a marketing standpoint that most people don't consider. Trap number 10 is not accounting for the Amazon or retail lift in your business. One of the most extreme examples that we had for this is that every time we spent $1, we generated $2 on the Shopify store and another $2 on Amazon. What that means is that if we were just looking at the Shopify level of profitability, we would have missed out on the other 50% of growth that happens on Amazon. That completely changes the model of how we would look at our advertising because we would assume that we're doing very, very poorly. For most of our clients, every time we spend $1 on Amazon, it's roughly anywhere between 15% to 25% lift on Amazon. The halo effect is very real and not considering it changes your model. So the shift here is control the variables on Amazon as you're scaling up on Shopify, see the lift that happens on Amazon because it could be significant for you and it could change your model very, very significantly. Trap 11 is discounting very aggressively. We were working with an accessories brand. They increased their retail prices of everything and then their whole business became buy one, get one. And then they ran ads for buy one, get one for over 12 months. Anytime they didn't do the buy one, get one, their business struggled. Worse, what happened is that all the new customers that came in, they would only buy again if there was also a discount on additional products. And so you're just stuck in this hamster wheel of discounts. The shift here is deciding if you want to be a discount brand and then owning that all the way, or figuring out what is the overall transformation process for your advertising to get out of the discounting process completely. This could mean changing your products, changing your pricing, changing bundles, changing the way that you're advertising, because staying stuck as a discount brand is very, very painful and very difficult to get out of. Trap number 12, the final one, and also a simple one, but not always easy, is cutting the fat, cutting the bloat. Bloat in a D2C company could mean different softwares that you're not using, different team members that aren't strategically aligned anymore. Whatever the case is for your business, there is bloat. There's always bloat. It comes down to how much or how aggressively are you going to cut it based off of the state of your business. Sometimes these are $100 expenses at a time that are, there are hundreds of them, or there are a few of them that are actually thousands of dollars that go straight to the bottom line and doesn't affect your top line or any part of your business. They're not always the easiest decisions, but they are very, very important to the profit of your business. Here's what people don't tell you, that these traps happen randomly. Sometimes they happen in a very sneaky way. Sometimes they happen slowly and then compound, multiply, and then it feels very sudden. The reason I created this video for you is because I think there's an opportunity to address this head on. If profit is a priority for you, these are different traps that you may have already fell in or could see yourself in, and now is a time to actually tackle them. Click the first link in the description to get these 12 traps. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video.